And there is the international debutante. Elena Leita, 20 years old, from Real Sociedad. She's not even played 40 top-flight games, so it'll be an exciting moment for the 20-year-old to win her first cap. Other end of the experience scale, Esther Gonzalez, prolific goal scorer in both Liga F and for the national team. She's hit the back of the net 21 times in just 32 caps. So Spain to attack the right of your screens in the first half at a rain-swept McDonald Jones Stadium, the penultimate game of the Cup of Nations. Spain must win by 3 clear goals to at least put a little bit of pressure on the Matildas going into the final game later tonight. Melissa Barbieri, can Spain get a margin of victory of that sort of distance?
I think if they move the ball around with Czechia playing in that massive block of 5-4-1, it'll be difficult for them to break down, but I'm sure they'll be able to get some interchangeable passes and some of that beautiful combination play that they showcased against the Matildas late in that second half in Sydney. So I feel like if Spain can break down this team, as soon as they get a little bit tired, then you might see the back of the net hit a few times.
Laia Codina here at the centre of defence, playing the ball across to Rocio Galvez. Now decision time for the centre-back, just drifting. Jenny Hermoso plays it out to the left, getting a couple of early touches. Hermoso, and now Salma Paraloilo is able to keep her balance and now break down the left side. Paraloilo swinging it through the penalty area and bending out for a goal kick, which gives us a chance to throw it down to the sidelines. Neve Owens, have you dropped anchor? Have you battened down the hatches?
Teo, what a day for it is here in Newcastle today. We saw the players from both Spain and Czechia give their wet weather jackets, their warm jackets to the girls from Edgeworth who were here, the ball girls who were here a little bit earlier today. It is coming down sideways at the moment. They've had over 45 mils of rain in Newcastle since the early hours of this morning. The pitch looks in great nick for now. We'll see how it stands up to a couple of games today.
Thank you, Neve. Down on the sidelines, take cover, and the flag is up for an early offside. And as far as what Czechia can do in attack, Melissa, we saw them actually finish the game quite strongly against Jamaica, and that was after the Matildas really overran them in game 1. So as far as not having much possession and chasing shadows potentially against this Spanish team, what can they do in an attacking sense to really try to make an impact on this Spain team?
Well, for starters, they've given their younger players a bit of a Guernsey today to front that front third. I feel like they've got a lot more legs in them. Perhaps the other starters have just run out of legs in this third match, but it's great to see the young guns get a go. I think the hold-up play of number 9, Stashkova, she'll be great in terms of bringing others into play, because when you play a deep block like Czechia are at the moment, it's really important for that number 9 position to actually pick up the ball, hold it for a little while and wait for your teammates to join in the fun.
Well, we'll watch and see if Czechia can execute that. They need the ball first. That's their issue at the moment. Guerrero playing it out to the left. Spain looking to build. Early ball. Esther on the turn at the edge of the box. For a teammate that wasn't there perhaps, but possession is coughed up immediately. Now another opportunity for Marta Cardona, floating it in. Hermoso was waiting, and over the top comes Lukasheva to bat the ball away. Back in goal today after Barbara Ruzicova got the opportunity on Sunday.
Lukasheva is very good in the air. She's really dominant, and she tries to really oversee her defence by just winning those challenges. She's quite tall, she has lengthy arms, and she can really make a difference for them in those sort of attacking forays for Spain. Especially when they whip the ball across that 6-yard box, she can really dominate that 6-yard area. Spain will have trouble, finishing with those easy tap-ins.
Only 20 and winning her 10th cap, as she's going to receive a back pass here. Has to make sure she finds a teammate. What advice would you give to a goalkeeper of her height if you were mentoring a goalie like Lukasheva?
I mean, she does everything that you need to be in as a 20-year-old in a national team. You've got to be brave, you've got to be bold, and the way she's just played out that little through ball, when she received it back, is just testament to her nature. And obviously she's not going to rush it, she's not going to smack it long, knowing that they're trying to play with a 5-4-1 block, and it's not going to be going out to anyone really quickly. So you know, just having good temperament and making good decisions and just being bold.
Ball over the top. Spain have got runners breaking through the middle here. And the chance is saved. Lukasheva right on cue. We've been talking about her ability as a goalkeeper and was very much needed there to deny Irene Guerrero a goal. And at close range, that's a good stop and a bad miss for Spain.
Certainly is, but when you see it, she's right off her line. She's really impacting the play. She's in their faces. When they look up, they can see this big, bold yellow, you know, keeper in their way. And usually, often the night, you're going to kick it right at the keeper when that happens.
There's another opportunity for Spain, probing through the right. Marta Cardona, ball knocked away. 5 minutes gone. It's all Spain at the moment. Cardona, who was previously at Real Madrid, but left to go to Atletico. Hey, Vilda prowling the sidelines. He wants an early goal for his team. Throw-in going Spain's way, and coming up from the midfield is Shayla to take the throw.
Czechia not even advancing forward when they have a throw-in. It's really obvious that they're not even going to succumb to a foul throw or anything like that.
Headed away out of the penalty area, but Spain have got numbers camped around the edge of the box. Guerrero, one of them. Ball out to Cardona on the right. From a standing start, goes around Pechkova, and the foul is given by the referee right down on the byline. And Elena Pechkova, who scored the match winner on Sunday, it's been rewarded with a start, just her third cap, fouling the more senior Spanish player. I wouldn't call her a veteran at 27, still very much in the prime of her career, but this is a nice piece of skill.
It certainly was, and the ball was going out, but you know, Czechia probably doesn't know that. You know what, you want to make the best of it and make sure that that player can't keep the ball in, but probably a learning moment for Czechia.
So free kick to be taken by Tere Abellera. Over on this right side, watch out for Hermoso, Parololo. They've got options to aim for in the air. The ball flashes through the penalty area. Lukasheva not able to affect the cross as it went through. Second time ball coming in, leaning down to the header, and shouts at Pechkova to clear the ball. Only does so in giving away another corner kick.
Yes, some unnerving moments there. I think Lukasheva did enough on that ball through the 6-yard box to interfere with the Spanish players. But once again, Czechia not playing with any sort of forward advancement on anything that they win.
Abellera, we saw the free kick, now we get to see the corner. Drifted right into the mixer, and a good defensive header through the penalty area from Petoldova. Sweeping around on the opposite side though, Olga Carmona whips it back in, header away once again, and this time the referee is saying there's been an infringement. So relief now for Czechia. As far as the strategy to sit deep against this Spanish team and try to batten down in defence, how much of that would have been prepared for by Czechia before they play against a top team in a World Cup qualifier or Euros qualifiers, and how much of this is kind of second nature? For example, Slavia Prague in the Champions League also having to do something quite similar with a lot of these players.
I think it's something that you have to work together with on numerous occasions for it to work. But the transition moment of when they win the ball in defence in that is probably the part where they need to probably work on a little bit more. See, now they've picked up possession and really no one is making an option, and they have to go all the way back to the keeper, and then nobody's making another option now for the keeper. She has to go long. So it's interesting to note that they're very, very organised in that defensive regime, but what they do when they win it is probably the critical moment they're not working on enough.
Just as they thought they might have got away, Slashova committed the foul, so Spain get to reset. Guerrero looking for a pass to slice through the middle, doesn't like any of the options, and so Spain concede ground once again. Shoulder to shoulder from Sahinova in the midfield, and that brings Pechkova into the action, albeit briefly, and then Shayla takes back over. Galvez. Pass hoping for Hermoso, it still might find its target. Bit of a slip, Parololo is there to try and pick the pocket. Spain pressing, but calm work from Sahinova to play it back to the centre of defence. Now Pečkova down the line. Kirova, one of Czechia's best in this tournament. The pass is not able to match. So almost 10 minutes gone. It's a half-field game at the moment. Elena Leita, making her international debut, is yet to touch the ball and has been a mere spectator down in goal at the other end.
Those days are always cold and wet for a goalkeeper.
Well, Neve Owens mentioned the players giving their spray jackets to the ball kids and the mascots in a great gesture of care before kickoff. Later might need one down in goal at the other end as we see a chance now for Spain. They're in behind, the cutback is on, and Lukasheva again is the obstacle. Cross was hit just a little bit skinny on that occasion. Spain reload. Cardona. And Guerrero. Czechs sense the opportunity to just bring their defensive line up a few steps, but they're still camped at the edge of their penalty area. And Paraloilo, great first touch to open up the left side for her. Estu is there in the middle, but it's off the keeper, not off the striker. Now Shayla takes a look, takes a strike, and it's blocked away again. Czechia just all-out defence at the moment, and then a foul comes to their aid and allows them to at least take a breather.
Stoichkova doing well to hold up the ball for a fraction, to engage that Spanish defender and pick up the foul, but great work here for the Spain team. Both sets of attacking options thwarted by some great goalkeeping by Lukasheva. She's really bold in that 6-yard area. Spain are going to have to probably bypass her and go over the top to finish at the back post if they're going to find some fruit for their labour.
Now Sahinova scored the second of Czechs' 3 goals at the weekend with a header. How they'd love a set piece, how they'd love a corner or a free kick just to aim for one of their targets. Here is a touch for Elena Leita. And Pečkova heads the ball straight out. I'm sure you remember your international debut, Bubs. Where was it?
Canada.
Canada, there we go. So
Victoria, 1-0 win.
Elena Leita will remember today for exactly the same reasons, I'm sure. And exciting that she gets to make it as a starter as well. Of course, Sandra Panos, the Barcelona goalkeeper, is not here. And we've talked about the 15 players that are currently protesting against the Federation a lot, Melissa, but it also opens the door for these players. The feeling in Spain is that if the World Cup was tomorrow, Jorge Vilda would be naming a very, very close squad to this one. It's not like there are other players that he's left at home that he wouldn't be bringing out to Australia.
No, that's right. And I feel like he's showcasing the next generation of Spain players, and what a next generation to have if you can still keep the wins up. And he was quite adamant. You know, there's been some talk about, you know, 15 players missing and that we're disrespecting the team that has showed up here in Australia, and the fact that, you know, these guys are continuing to do the great work of those Spanish players that have decided not to put their hand up. But, you know, what a great way to brood the next generation of Spanish players. I mean, there's a lot of players here that might not have got a Guernsey had it not been for the 15 players that are at home boycotting, as we should say. But great testament to their next level.
Now we see Guerrero here, sliding it through the right. Ball is cleared by Pečkova. Now Kirova. It's a 50-50, not even, just to give away in the end. Aviera able to command the ball.
I do have to say that Spain weren't that good on the international stage not that long ago. So it's testament to their, you know, they're saying how they're not liking how it's run. They must be doing something right, because they weren't all that good not that long ago. So it's great to see.
Here is Paraloilo, one of those youngsters, playing the ball through the left. Gets the ball back and another opportunity. Abiera to shots of Tere. She needs the call from Guerrero in the middle. Now Galvez. Famoso dropping a little deeper. The rain continues to persist here in Newcastle. Field's looking a little bit skinny at the moment. Spain have got an advantage wide, but Pečkova stops the run of Shayla, albeit briefly. Shayla goes again to the pylon this time and runs out of real estate.
Shayla picking up the ball outside that 18-yard area on the quick switch. And if she had have maybe played a 1-2, gotten in behind the defence, she may have had more space over Pechkova. But, you know, Spain, when they engage each and every Czechia player, they seem to drag them out of space. I think that's what Australia did really well when they started to overcome Czechia in that first match, is they started to play that almost man-to-man sort of positioning where they went to a 4-4-2 and then pushed Rasso up in the wide areas and Chidiak into that left wing, which meant that all 4 of their defenders were engaged. Now Czechia are playing with 5 at the back, so Spain just need to really engage each and every defender and whip them out of place to create some. They're just being a little bit impatient at the moment.
We saw a moment ago 78% possession through 15 minutes.
I've had those games and we've still won, so.
As in defending on the...
Defending.
Well,
I remember a semi-final against Japan where we were 80-20 and we still won 1-0. So.
And you are quite a strong communicator minute 1 to the very last whistle. So what is it that you're shouting at your defence to keep them organised? If you're marshalling the Czech defence here, especially a back 5, what is it that you're looking for from your defenders to make sure that they keep their shape and don't allow any Spain runners to get in behind?
Well, it's about showing them what they can't see. Sometimes you need your head on a swivel out there, and it's really important that, you know, a keeper's there just acknowledging which player's got which. And because if you drag yourself out of an area, which I've been said Spain should do, it creates holes in the back line. So you really want to make sure everyone's on the same page, and I'm just the conductor at the back trying to get my chess pieces to do the right things.
Well, we've got another test case for that right here, because Spain are stretching the pitch as wide as they can. They've got Shayla almost against the touchline on the right, Paralolo on the left. They're currently operating through the traffic in the middle of the ground. Here is Shayla, has Cardona. Now Marta Cardona. We've seen her get the better of Pechkova once, and she does it again into the area with a bit of speed, but it's blocked away before any teammates can be engaged. And now a little knock, and that has to go down as a save there. Feet first coming out. Lukasheva denies Esther Garcia. Now here's Gonzalez with the shot over the bar. And so a little double chance there for Spain. And Gonzalez getting engaged in the match, the little thumbs up, but ultimately didn't hit the target when the chance presented.
Yeah, when you see you know, Lukasheva make a save like this, the ball comes out, she can smother it, but she stays on her feet because she knows Spain are so good technically that if she had gone down earlier, she would have, you know, probably created an opportunity for Spain to dodge the bullet there and cut back inside. But great work by Lukasheva once again.
Bitoldova, the back pass. Lukasheva drawn up to the edge of the box. There's about as many numbers of Czechia have committed forward so far in the game, and that might leave gaps for a player like Paralolo to exploit, but it's a good slide challenge coming in.
They certainly are good one-on-one defenders, and as soon as they see the Spanish player with a poor, you know, body shape or anything facing the wrong way, they really give it to them and try and win possession.
Another chance here for Tsahinova. Now Cherna plays the ball down the right flank for Stashkova. As you can see, not much going in the middle, just a lot of Spanish blue shirts rather than the red of Czechia. And clever work there from Tsahinova. This is a set piece, and surely now they go and camp some numbers in the penalty area and try to drop it on someone's head.
Yeah, they'll get numbers forward here. Once again, they draw the tackle from the Spanish defenders. And Czechia will probably opt for all numbers in the box on this one. They might hold back with a couple of players just in case, but the only thing you have to worry about is the player in the wall from this sort of setup out in the wide area. So the distribution here needs to be spot on. So we either want it too far over or spot on, but not into the wall or anything where they can attack.
Kidova's free kick, a little bit too much on it, and the ball goes out for a goal kick. So a rare attacking foray is a short-lived one for Czechia. And Kidova, 13th cap today from Slavia Prague. Really like the 22-year-old in this international series, that free kick aside.
Left foot, always a blessing to have on any team.
Spain playing out from the back, and they're quick to move down the touchline. Hermoso. Codina. Now Abiyera. Hermoso again, immediately attracting a crowd. Collapses to the ground. Oh, Hermoso down and sore. Spain trying to play on in the meantime. And now the referee whistles play dead, but we heard the cry and the groan there from Jenny Hermoso, who's definitely had her injury issues in recent times, and this is the sort of thing that will make fans of both Spain and just neutrals incredibly nervous. Let's have a closer look, Melissa.
Yeah, it certainly did look innocuous to begin with, but then on the follow-through, definitely one of those corkies in the quad. And especially when you're probably already a little bit tired from your last match. You know, getting one of those in your ITBs is really painful, especially on a wet and cold day like this.
Well, as long as it's not a knee, a corky's far more feasible. 95th cap today for the 32-year-old Hermoso. 46 international goals, a superb scoring record. She walks to the sideline here, having taken that knock. Looks as though with a little bit of treatment she'll be all right to continue.
She'll just have to keep it warm and get back onto the field as quick as possible. It'd be a drop ball though for Czechia.
Hermoso missed the Euros injured. It was a key absentee for Spain as they went out to England in the quarterfinals. Czechia playing the ball around their defensive line. Netsirova plays it to Bertoldova. Change of formation to the back five means that Netsirova and Didinova are there next to Bertoldova in the middle today. And now Pechkova, who's playing as a left fullback rather than a left wing back, you'd have to say, and the ball is blazed out into the Czechia bench.
They just need to be a little bit more patient in that build-up play. Bertoldova, she's certainly the leader out there. She probably needed to just get them to swing it back out and go the other way. Once they move Spain to side, it certainly could open up the passage on the other side. So once they get it onto this wing, to swing it back around might get some more forays forward for them.
Kidova in a battle. Nest is there. Czechia win the throw. Bertoldova. The surface is still playing pretty well given the amount of water it's absorbed. Credit to the ground staff, really, that the game is looking still pretty good with the ball speed. Passes like that, moving nicely along the carpet. However, not to the advantage of Czechia on this occasion. Bokmanova barely called her name. Looking to play into attack, and if they have a long throw specialist, this could be another opportunity for them here to try to create.
Especially as Spain are setting up all on this left-hand side. A long throw might expose them on the weak-hand side.
Shlashova is going to come up, not taking the biggest run-up, so you'd suggest they don't have a long throw specialist. It's going to be to the edge of the box instead. Janina out of a 1-on-2. Can't keep possession. Retake over on the wing. Gabriela Shlashova. 22nd cap today for the player from Slavia Prague. Third time lucky, perhaps. Another throw for Czechia. At least the ball is spending some time down at their defensive end, at least making Spain organise.
But they're very disjointed. There's no movement. There's no creativity. Everyone just waiting for Spain to pick up the ball again, I guess.
Padalolo gets the clearance.
What you'd really love to see is them to play the ball almost backwards to come around this other side.
Another throw then for Czechia. Shlashova up to Stashkova. And that's last touch off Czechia, so Spain will get possession, albeit deep in defence, maybe defending the throw, as some of the players not involved in today's game. Neat network of passes. Hermoso chipping it over the top. Padaloilo. Abiyera breaks into space, and now Spain trying to go end to end. Takes a deflection. Cardona is not able to get to the ball before Netsitova. And back to Lukasheva. And the ball runs on, and here is a chance for Kitova now. And the goalkeeper is out. First real nervy moment for Elena Leta on international debut. Now Kitova gets another chance. That's all it can take on a wet, slippery day. A little bit of chaos. Let's not forget the game is still 0-0. And how the Czechs would love nothing more than something to defend and something to hold on to in this game.
Great decision making there from Leta in the Spain goal. She had to be decisive. She had to come off her line.
So can Czechia harness this momentum? Sahinova. That pass misses the teammate, out for a throw. Shayla. Throws it to Hermoso, who's shaken off that knock. And as Czechia start to at least show a little bit more threat and start to get a bit of territorial balance back, Melissa, what do we make of the 25 minutes we've seen so far? This could be a bit of a jinx, perhaps. Spain are breaking into space. Here's Paralolo. Still Salma Paralolo. And the cross from Carmona. Bounces in the area. Cardona. On the left, it's blocked away.
I will say that's better from Cardona. You know, Paralolo gets into the box. They have a little bit more measured cross at the back post. Not trying to force it.
Abiera.
It's certainly Spain's game in this first 25 minutes, but Czechia is doing well to hold them up and win those 1v1 battles.
Codina. Back to Galvez. Now Abiera. A lot of Spanish players wide on the left here. There's a cluster in the box as well. It's not a cross forthcoming, at least not yet. Galvez again. Now Shayla. Codina. Abiera. And now Shayla. Guerrero. Hermoso is there, goes to ground, solved the contact for all it was worth. Rebecca Durkau, the Australian referee, perfectly placed, did not take an interest.
And with no VAR, you can't come back to those either, so can't fault her for trying in the 18.
Now a couple of Czechia players giving themselves up offside here. We'll just let the ball run long. Here's another look.
Certainly ball won first. No foul. It's just one of those ones where you accidentally clip the player on the way through, so no ill intention either.
Shlashova there making the challenge. It's Carol Rada, the Czechia coach, you can hear coming through the microphone. Codina, runners break ahead of the ball. Guerrero looks out to the right. Cardona is there. Still Marta Cardona. Was hoping for Esther Gonzalez. Here she is. Decided to recycle the ball back out. Now Shayla crosses it in. Header away by Netsitova this time. Guerrero through the right. Shayla, the cut across, and Esther scores. Spain get the breakthrough, and it's Esther Gonzalez. The neat network of passes eventually unlocks the Czechia defence, and just before the half-hour mark, it is Spain 1, Czechia 0.
Shayla just absolutely drawing out the Czechia Lashkova in goals and placing a non-missable shot for Gonzalez in the box. She knew the goalkeeper would come out on that one-on-one. Czechia had no defenders in the box at the moment, and she squares it across, and it's neatly finished in the bottom corner.
Good judgment as well, because on that pass, Gonzalez is offside, but she runs back and gets behind the ball for the cutback.
It's certainly a moment of absolute brilliance there from Spain in terms of showing what they can do in this next level of football that they can portray. But Czechia just lost their head for a little bit of a moment. They got drawn to the ball and then they got slipped in behind. It's those two moments that you have to be really critical in defending, where you get attracted to the ball but then make sure that you drop back in your defensive line. And Spain exposed Czechia really, really well in that instance.
Second goal in the Cup of Nations for Esther. 22nd international goal on the occasion of cap number 33 for the 30-year-old from Real Madrid. Of course, scored a double against the Matildas in the 7-0 last year as well. No doubt looking forward to coming back here in July and August for the World Cup. Well, I say here, to New Zealand at least. But you say it was unmissable there, Melissa, but it still takes composure in that situation to make sure that you don't fluff your lines in front of an open net.
It certainly does. And you know, we always give it to the number 9s if they don't score those easy tap-ins. So it does happen, but she's put herself in the right position to score that tap-in. And no doubt she does a lot of running in terms of pressing. So that's the fruit for all the defensive work that she probably does as well.
So now Spain having broken through. Let's see if they can build on this lead. 5 shots to none, but a shaky defensive header. Kirova, will the ball sit up here? Czechia inside their penalty area, dropping it on the roof of the net. Again, Kirova has been key to any attacks. Probably worth mentioning that Spain looking a little bit shaky at the centre of defence has been key to some of these attacks.
And certainly her attracting players, because she's playing in that left midfield role, and she's the one busting forward, making runs and creating opportunities for her teammates. And then just causing a little bit of panic in the Spanish backline because they don't know who to pick her up, because obviously she's out of position. So it's kind of a different picture for them, and they have to think on their feet. And she's certainly making them do that quite often.
Maya Codina there with the defensive error with the header. Safe to say that if the likes of Mappy Leon and Irene Paredes are watching back in Spain, they might be cursing at the screens when they see a moment like that. Spain building in the meantime. Paralolo stops and props, and back to Aviera. Sweeping it into the box, headers up. Cleared initially by Kirova. Second chance for Shayla. He's got 1 assist already, but that is plucked out of the air comfortably by Lukasheva.
I feel like Spain are a little bit lazy at the moment. You know, I say lazy, but you can call it impatient, but I think it's lazy because every time somebody gets the ball in the wing, they're all standing in the box calling for it and wanting it on their head. But when you've got a goalkeeper like Lukasheva in there, it's a little bit of a, you know, you're playing into her strengths. So the goal came from moving the ball around and 1-2s and inside the box, and if you're giving that launch nice and early, it's too easy for Lukasheva to read.
Guerrero, slightly dangerous pass to the edge of the box, but obviously Galvez has plenty of time to move it on to Hermoso, who's dropped deep into midfield, tried to feed it out to the left. Paralolo wanted the pass, it wasn't forthcoming. Carmona, Aviera again. Esther trying for a very long 1-2 there with Guerrero, but you can see from the body language, just didn't quite shape the pass the way that Esther Gonzalez was hoping.
Cardona and, you know, Gonzalez trying to work together in terms of dragging players inside. The ball could have very well fallen to Gomez.
See, they're 12 crosses to 1, so you were talking about playing into the strengths of Lukasheva. Spain not too concerned about a tall Czech defence, tall Czech keeper. They're happy to swing plenty of crosses in. Try their luck. Paralolo here. Czechia players all running back, facing their own goal here. Paralolo cuts in. Guerrero. Now Shayla. Square ball. Guerrero. You can see Czechia have packed the top of the defensive penalty area. Who's moving? Who wants the ball in this situation? Salma Paralolo. advantage given. Now Codina plays it to Shayla, swinging the ball in. Oh, a bit of a drag on the arm perhaps of Guerrero, and she's down holding her ankle here. An awkward landing. She's currently in an offside position, getting back to her feet. Czechia breaking in the meantime. Stashkova. Can she go half the pitch here on her own? Stashkova has got support coming in the form, well, of a very deep run from Pechkova. And having got on the score sheet at Combank Stadium on Sunday, Pechkova, who's playing at left fullback, went for a full field run there to try and provide a bit of assistance.
Yeah, she certainly did, and credit to her. If it could have been played a little bit earlier, it might have been much more direct. She could actually make a central run. When you have a play, if she had played it right now with the left foot and it would have curled back in, it's because she's played it with the right foot that she hasn't quite got enough curl on it to put it into her pass. But great forward run by Pechkova there.
A long sprint. It's a long pitch, McDonald Jones Stadium. Pechkova sprinting all the way down to the opposing penalty area. Now Spain looking to probe into attack themselves, but that pass is breaking straight. Frustration from Codina as it runs down into the goalkeeper's glove. So 10 minutes of regulation until half-time. Spain enjoying a 1-0 lead against Czechia. Just a reminder that if they win by 3 clear goals, the Matildas will at least have to draw against Jamaica tonight to make sure they do take home the trophy. If the result is anything other than Spain winning by at least 3 clear goals, the Matildas will have won the trophy before kicking off in their game at 7:10 later tonight on 10 Bold and Paramount Plus. Aviera. Hermoso. All a little bit static ahead of the ball at the moment. Players just bouncing up and down on the spot. Not a great deal of running going on. So pick your target. And now players engage. Shlashkova came out. Pokmanova plays it over to Chedina. He's being worried out of possession here, tumbling out of the way, but Paralolo couldn't capitalise.
It's not really a high press from Spain, but they certainly get numbers around the ball whenever they look to be losing possession. If they can swing the ball from edge to edge, they'd probably get a bit more opportunity in the wide areas. Because once the Czechia team travels to the wide areas, you can then play well within the 18-yard box lines. And then when you move forward, you're closer to goal and you'd be able to finish much to the first goal.
Here's another look at the foul here by Stashkova on Hermoso. It's back chasing again, but Spain quick to move the ball. Carmona, fresh air swing. The slightest opportunity here for Shlashova. Carmona's done well to slide back in and win possession. Plays it out to Paralolo down the left side. Crunching slide challenge comes in.
She was a hurdler, wasn't she? She could she could have jumped over that hurdle quite nicely.
Yeah, it was a real tug of war for Paralolo. Almost dangling the carrot of senior national team was what ultimately got her over the line to commit to football rather than athletics. Here's a chance for Shea, and the cut back is blocked away. Aviera. Now Esther. Hermoso trying to flick it out to the flank, and Paralolo, but Shlashova was there. Hermoso takes a seat at the edge of the box. Hopefully it's not a recurrence of that mild injury we saw earlier in the half. No, she's back up on her feet and all right.
Certainly trying to play for a foul. She'll need to do much more. I feel like the refereeing being top-notch this Cup of Nations, certainly gearing up towards, you know, the best tournament that you want to be at, and they certainly they have fine form moving into it.
Well, Australian referees have always, in the women's game, been standouts. Think of Kate Jakovitz going to multiple senior World Cups, umpteen junior World Cups as well.
They have selection too, don't they?
And now the cross in from Carmona. The header makes it 2. Esther's done it again. She points out Marta Carmona and says, thank you very much. A double for Esther Gonzalez. And Spain well and truly in control now. They have been bombarding in the air, and this time it pays off.
It's an absolutely beautiful finish. This ball in is whipped across the front of the box. Lukasheva cannot do anything about it. And Esther is there with a beautiful finish. This is the time that you want the ball into the air, where the keeper can't come and get it. So these are the crosses that you really want to make close to the 18-yard box. It's coming away from the keeper, and Gonzalez is there just to head it home.
Not distracted by giving her teammate a bit of a piggyback there. Through came Paralolo, but the technique was just too good, wasn't it?
Yeah, the way she can get over the ball in this instance at full flight whilst rising and going backwards. And that is a bottom corner finish, you know, of top class, really.
So, fill your boots time for Esther Gonzalez. Has 2 in 40 minutes on a hat-trick now. Up to 23 international goals in Spain. Into the last 5 minutes of the half. Things are starting to just roll downhill now. Hermoso. Out to Cardona. Has got the hot boot. An assist a moment ago. Oh, went for the nutmeg on Petchkova, and Petchkova wasn't having any of it.
Oh.
Gives away a corner, but at least prevented the cross initially flinging into the box.
Cheeky there by Cardona. But what an excellent finish as we see that once again.
So Gonzalez will loom large here. 3 for the tournament. Might be enough to secure top scorer status. Probably comes down to who and how many minutes various Matildas play later tonight. Paralolo to take the corner to the far post. And this time it's wide, but Lukasheva was diving at full stretch there.
She might have got a piece on it before it went out, but referee has called for a goal kick.
Laia Cardina there is up only a 3rd cap today and already has 1 international goal, and this one not too far away, but I think corner's a decent shout there. It's definitely got a bit of the goalie and the defender.
Double whammy. Can't see everything. That's why we have VAR these days, but...
Well, it'll be... I guess you wouldn't have VAR review whether it's a corner or not, so...
No, exactly.
That's the good news. Referee's decision is final. And the Czechs, well, they might need to batten down the hatches here because Spain streaming into the box again. Esther cuts it back, misses Cardona. Hermoso there. Oh, great touch from Hermoso. Made the defender disappear. And now Esther, perhaps trying to turn provider, having scored 2 already. Guerrero, back to Esther. There's a lunge, and that was well timed from Bertoldova, enough to put Esther Gonzalez off. And I think the blowout and the puff of the cheeks there is because if that had gone even a little bit wrong, Esther crashes to ground and it's a penalty for Spain.
Certainly, and Esther has just worked so hard. I feel like, you know, not much credit is due in terms of the hard work that a player like Esther Gonzalez does in the build-up. So she's continuously making runs forward. She's continuously wanting it feet. And the goals are from that labour. But we rarely see the case that they do off the ball and not receive it.
Good news is the rain has subsided, so if you're a Matildas fan, don't forget kickoff's not until 7:10 p.m. tonight, so if the weather clears up, it's going to be a nice evening. Come on down, support the Matildas. They're in great form, going for 7 wins in a row. And I think these players will be happy that they're no longer subject to the conditions as well. So we see shouts for a foul there, not heated. So 2 minutes of regulation to go in the half. Spain looking more likely than not that they'll add another goal to their tally before the break.
And I must say, off topic completely, but this is why female teams don't want to wear white shorts. On days like this, it's really incredibly difficult to be not to be self-conscious.
Well, there's no reason they couldn't have gone sky blue top to tail, I suppose. Same colour as the shirt.
Well, we see Man City recently throwing away with the white shorts, so it's probably something that should be noted by all female teams across the board.
Lukasheva is going to take this goal kick. I wonder what subs the Czechs might have planned as well in the second half. Certainly a number of their key movers from the weekend, including particularly Kristina Ruzicova starting on the bench today after a really good showing against Jamaica on Sunday, so wouldn't be surprised if Colorado has something planned, if nothing else, to try and shift the momentum of this game, which is going firmly Spain's way, and bar a couple of blips at the centre of Spain's defence, more or less has for the full 45 minutes so far.
Yeah, I think a couple of more experienced players on the pitch in the second half might bode them well for, you know, just improving the way that they play. They are missing a lot of players anyway, with 6 staying home.
Free kick here on the edge of shooting range, and a card coming out of the pocket too. I wonder if that's due to a combination of, or a build-up of fouling by the team, because Sahinova certainly hadn't been a repeat offender through the course of this half. Spain wanted to take it quickly, but it's going to be coming back.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly what the referee has seen. Maybe it's behind play a little bit. Maybe they speak English.
Well, we heard from Clara Sahinova post-game after the match on Sunday. Her English is pretty good, so maybe she has said something to Rebecca Takau there. But it's the first yellow of the game, 3 in the wall, and the free kick's going to be maybe a little bit too wide for a direct shot on goal. So Abiera looks up at a set-piece situation here. Swings the ball out. Oh. Hermoso blocked, and at point-blank range, Lukasheva, who probably didn't know a huge amount about it, still able to get a glove onto the ball and deny Hermoso a goal. Spain threatening again, but Bertoldova is over at right back. There's a slip right down on the line. It's going to be a Czechia throw. 2 minutes of additional time. We've played one of them.
That's the perfect ball there by Teresa, because the ball's coming away from the goalkeeper. She's come for it, and you know, I think that's a bit of luck at the end of the day. She's come for the cross, ended up misreading it, but right in the right position to go one-on-one, and she just did the correct technique of a spread there.
Yeah, clubbed the ball away in the end, but you called it perhaps luck more than design to keep the score at 2-0. Czechia have got 30 seconds or so to last to the halftime break to limit the damage. Godina. Now Shayla. How determined is Spain for one last attempt on goal? Paraloilo. Carmona shrugs off Cherna, and then Guerrero skies the chance. Difficult on the turn. Referee takes a look at the watch and says that will do for the first half. So it's been Esther Gonzalez's half, both the goals. Match primarily taking place in Spain's attacking half. And it is that woman, Esther Gonzalez, with her 22nd and 23rd international goals, that has Spain in control at McDonald Jones Stadium. At half-time, it's Czechia 0, Spain 2.
It's been a fantastic first half from the Real Madrid strikers. Spain well and truly in the driver's seat here at Hunter Stadium. It is the Cup of Nations. Match day 3, I'll be back with Matilda's legend, Melissa Barbieri, on the other side to run our eye over all of the first half highlights. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you very soon.
It is a very tight tussle for the finals, so bring it on. Very good viewing. You won't want to miss it. I'm joined by Matilda's legend, Melissa Barbieri, who has gone from the combox into the panel. Alongside me right now, it is Spain v Czechia here at Hunter Stadium. It's a wet one though, isn't it, Bubs? At least the rain has held off for the last 20 minutes or so. But what have you made of the first half overall? Spain are well and truly cruising through this first half.
They certainly are. It's all Spain, all for Czechia to do in the second half, but it's been an absolute blistering performance by Spain. The ability of Esther Gonzalez to create space for herself in such tight areas. As we know, Czechia are actually playing with 9 players behind the ball, plus the goalkeeper. The Czechia goalkeeper Lukacheva has been playing well but couldn't do anything about this first goal. Gonzalez making it too easy at that front post after a great ball in.
Some really beautiful lead-up play here as well. You can see with this Spanish team, La Roja, why they are one of the best teams in Europe. And we've spoken about Esther Gonzalez. She is the third top scorer in Liga F, Real Madrid star. And that is her third goal across this Cup of Nations tournament.
Yeah, Cardona gives a perfect ball in. This time Lukacheva can't do anything about it, but Gonzalez is there to put it away. Esther is absolutely in blistering form this afternoon. I was talking about earlier how much work she does off the ball, and she doesn't receive it, so that when she does finally receive it, she's going to put it away.
Tough one as well for the goalkeeper, 20 years old later on debut this afternoon as well. Looking at the match stats there, Bubs, and as you can see it, all of those big numbers heavily favour the world number 7 in Spain. It's all to do though, isn't it, for Czechia in the second half? What are they going to have to do?
Well, I feel like they're going to have to come out of their half, really. Every time they win possession of the ball, nobody wants to get forward. They're really not allowing themselves to be embarrassed out there. I would rather see a 6-0 scoreline by them trying to go forward and trying to create chances for themselves to showcase what they can do. I mean, Spain are a good team, but really they need to just give their kids a chance to show their skills. They're really holding them back.
Give it a red-hot crack.
Red-hot crack, yes.
Red-hot crack. Well, let's head down to pitch side now. I don't know if you've got an umbrella or a snorkel or the flippers on, because Neve Owens is down there for us. Of course, you're gearing up and getting ready for the Matildas v Jamaica clash, Nevo, but is it going to be raining or will it hold out? That's what we all want to know.
Welcome to Newcastle, Tars. It is so good to have you here in the Hunter Valley. Look, the rain had stopped, but we've had over 45 mils since 6 a.m. this morning. There has been flooding in some parts of Newcastle. It had stopped a little while ago, but it's just started to rain again. Conditions are supposed to improve throughout the afternoon, and at the moment, the surface is actually looking really good. There's absolutely no pooling of water on the surface. It was relayed in 2015 for the Asian Cup. The drainage was fixed up then as well. And during the footy season, both the Knights and the Jets play here on the same weekends. Speaking to some A-League women's players who have been here today, they say it's quite a hard surface to play on generally. So a little bit of water won't hurt it at all. And heading into the Matildas Jamaica game this afternoon, I reckon it is going to be spick and span. School will finish, work will finish, the crowd will be in time for kickoff.
I'll bring it on, Nevo. Thank you so much for giving us a big pitch report there. And I can confirm, I think Nevo's wearing about 3 or 4 layers under that 10 sports jacket as well. We are gearing up, Bubs, of course, for the final Cup of Nations clash for the Matildas against Jamaica. They know them well. They met them in the final group game, 4-1, that final score of the World Cup in 2019. But the Matildas and momentum, it's with the Matildas, isn't it?
It certainly is. I must say the last 20 minutes or so was a little bit, befuddling, but we can see by their opening 45 that they have some dominance and they can come into this game with a huge amount of confidence, and especially because Mackenzie Arnold at the back line really helped them to shore up that first 45. They did break that clean sheet in the end, but in fact it was just about Matilda's getting over the line.
It was one of the best first half performances, you could arguably say, under Tony Gustafsson in his 2-year tenure thus far.
I will say that it probably was Tony Gustafsson's fault that they did have that last 20 minutes of, a bit of not understanding what the game plan was. They went from a back 4 to a back 5, and Spain capitalised on that sort of discrepancy and not knowing what's going on.
Good time to test it out, though, in the
Certainly
Cup
is.
of Nations, because, of course, it is the World Cup that the Matildas are gearing up for here at home, which is 5 months away. Of course, we have a huge second half coming up, though, live from Hunter Stadium between Czechia and Spain as we gear up as well to the Matildas v Jamaica. Kickoff for that one is at 6:30 live on 10 Bold and Paramount Plus. You won't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere.
And Sam Kerr sets up Mary Fowler to give the Matildas the dream start. Gorry takes over. The effort, Gorry from distance. What a strike. And the Matildas are in front.
Katrina Gorry. Razzo, the second ball, the follow-up from Razzo! The Matildas on fire!
Kerr takes over. Van Egmond back for board. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Gorry's ball delivers. Kerr's header. And Sam Kerr scores. Goal number 12 of the year. It's a good ball in. It's there for Kerr! And she's done it! The late show is from the Matildas. 2 goals in less than 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes of the match, and Sam Kerr with her 57th international goal.
Players in the tunnel for Spain about to come back out for the second half of the penultimate Cup of Nations game at McDonald Jones Stadium. It's all smiles for Spain because they're ahead 2-0 at the moment. Esther Gonzalez with both of them. Looks as though there might be some halftime subs in the offing. Wait and see exactly what Jorge Vilda has planned, but I think you can take it as read that Alba Redondo and Berta Pujadas are going to be 2 of the players at least that are thrown into the game. Redondo, of course, scored against Australia in stoppage time on Sunday night, so comes in with a bit of form behind her, hoping to continue to add to this Spain tally. And as both teams make their way back onto the pitch, Melissa Barbieri is back in the commentary box. And what is it that you're hoping to see in the second half?
As I was saying in the halftime show with Tara, I think if it was to bode well for Czechia at the moment, I really think they should just take the reins off. I feel like Carol has really asked them to be defensive, to sit in their blocks. And sometimes when you're playing in a tournament of great magnitude, yes, you want to do that to limit the damage. But in a Cup of Nations where it's the final game, you've got no chance of winning anything. Try and play some fluid football that your players can take into their club matches, wherever they'd like to go, and to perform at their best and really showcase some skills, because you never know who's watching. And when you're playing for your national team, you can really be picked up by any European squads or anything like that. So it's about showcasing what they have.
So change for Czechia as well, and the only player on the pitch that had a yellow card from the first half, Klara Cahinova, is off for Antonia Starova. But confirming the two players for Spain coming off at halftime for Alba Redondo and Berta Pujadas, Laia Codina and Esther Gonzalez. So Gonzalez no chance at adding to her goals and going for the hat-trick today, and Laia Codina, who did make that defensive header error, Melissa, perhaps that might have had some repercussions in the room at halftime as well.
Maybe you want your centre-backs to be doing an absolute great job there, and just that little, it probably was a little bit of miscommunication where, you know, you go up for a header and then you might have pulled out a little bit, but it did create an opportunity for Czechia going forward. So you never know what coaches are thinking.
Kick-off to start the second half. Spain 2-0 up against Czechia here. If they win by 3 clear goals, the Matildas will at least have to turn up and play against Jamaica to take the trophy. If they were to lose to Jamaica and Spain was to win 3-0, then Spain would actually win the Cup of Nations on goal difference. But the Matildas in red-hot form at the moment, going for 7 wins in a row later tonight. As we see Stashkova trying to forge a way through. Now Kirova. Ball is cleared away by Olga Carmona. And it falls to Aneta Dedinova. I think back to her taking quite a heavy knock going against the post against Jamaica on Sunday, so she clearly shook off that ailment and has been fine to back up and play this game. And tell us about the experience of 3 games in the space of a week. Melissa, you would have done it numerous times over your career, particularly for the Matildas in some of those AFC tournaments, Olympics or World Cup qualifying. Just how demanding is it both physically and mentally, and how valuable is a week like this for these 4 teams?
We've done it most recently in the A-Leagues as well, where you've played 3 in 7 days, and it's about recovery. As soon as you come off the pitch, sometimes coaches start to think about the next game halfway through the first game or the second game. You start to think ahead about who you want to play. So it's about man management as much as self-management as a player.
As we see Abiera here playing the ball to Hermoso. And then trying to spin away Carmona. You might be wondering why there is such a gap between the early game today and then the Matildas later this evening. It's because Spain are flying out tonight. And if they didn't fly out tonight, there wouldn't be another flight for 3 days, apparently. So getting all these players back to their clubs, the logistics of coming to Australia, certainly factored into their acceptance to come out and play in this tournament.
And it really has to factor in the whole tournament, because when you talk about playing in one state to the next state and moving, some of these things come into play. Not necessarily going all the way back to Spain, but Australia is a big country. In Europe, you can go from one country to another, whereas we're just flying from one state to the next. So that comes into play in recovery as well.
Carol Rado having a discussion with his assistants there. Interesting that Andrea Stashkova is so heavily bandaged around that right thigh and leg now. You see her contesting the ball here in a 1-on-2. Shouts for handball. Referee is willing to let it slide. And here goes Stashkova, fouled, goes to ground. And you see her immediately favour that right knee. There's kinesio tape all up and down it. And you wonder if there's going to be another sub in the offing sooner rather than later.
I wonder if it's worth risking her for her club going back. She certainly is favouring that right leg. It looks like medial tape in terms of what's been strapped.
I'll come back and get you to explain that after this free kick, because Czechia have a chance to drop it in the penalty area and maybe half the deficit if all goes to plan. Bit of indecision over who's going to take. Kirova does use that left foot to whip it in. Defensive header initially, and then the volley's in, but the flag's up! Oh, it's agony for Czechia because Bertoldova doesn't know that the goal isn't going to count. And it was such a good finish too. The bench don't know yet either. And now the sudden realization that the ball is live at Spanish feet, and Petra Bertoldova is denied what would have been a ripping goal.
Oh, it's a fraction offside. It may have just been her left shoulder just coming offside by a centimetre. Of course, we don't have the line or the static replay of that, but certainly was marginal.
And you saw there a couple of Czechia fans, a Slavia Prague kit in the crowd. Those boys were in shambles. They couldn't believe it.
No,
they thought they had a goal.
What a finish. Absolute plum of a finish. And I love to see Czechia getting forward numbers.
Spain trying to make it count at the other end. They're on notice here. Oh, and that was the territory where Esther was scoring in the first half. Instead, it's bundled behind for a corner. Could very nearly have been an own goal for Pechkova over on the left, but instead it goes behind. Here's another look. Oh, it's an arm offside for Bertoldova, isn't it?
Well, if you think about it.
And the touch there, that touch, I think she is definitely offside.
Oh, on the second touch. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't have my referee's hat on then. But yeah, unfortunate for Spain on that occasion. They couldn't turn it into the back of the net.
Trust me, as we see the corner here, Pechkova, Spain looming large. They haven't cleared their lines here, Czechia, and it was swept away from Redondo at the last. I was going to say, Bubs, when I put my referee's hat on, the real referees tell me very quickly about it. They're the experts. Here's a chance now for Paraloilo. Now, down at right back, this is the halftime sub, Starova, trying to keep the ball moving. Redondo trying to protect the ball from Chadina. Now, Netsidova is going to find the safety of the touchline.
Hermoso getting caught again on that right thigh, as we see.
And it's come off Dedinova. It hasn't come off the Spanish player there.
No, that's right.
So good reffing by Sarah Hope.
She's one of the best.
Frustration for Czechia, because it would have been just a 4th international goal in 114 caps for Petra Bertoldova. So they aren't impossible, but they are definitely rarities, goals for the Czechia captain and centre-back.
Especially like that. I mean, even if it is offside, you'd put that on your highlights reel. No one needs to know it was called back.
No, some sneaky editing,
yeah.
And anything's possible. Here you go, Spain with Rosa Galvez. That pass misdirected, though. It's been a rarity from Spain in this game. They have shown largely good control of the ball.
Just a bit of complacency coming in. They are 2-0 to the good. Probably already thinking about that long flight home. Safe to say that happens in tournaments.
Of course, they have come to Australia for this Cup of Nations, but just through the luck of the draw, they did end up in New Zealand for their group. So we see a foul here, and there's going to be a talking to Kirova. Just getting one last warning from referee Rebecca Durkow.
Just clips her on the way through. Definitely one of their stronger players this afternoon, Shayla. So you don't want her picking up possession. Call that professional foul.
Spain's group, they start with Costa Rica in Wellington, Zambia in Auckland, and then Japan in Wellington. Feeling certainly is that Japan game might decide who finishes top of the group. They're on the USA's half of the draw, so they'd have to potentially go through America to see a semi-final. Sweden on their half of the draw as well. Pechkova right back to the last line, and Netsidova is able to win a throw. And pre-kickoff today, we were both watching the very end of Haiti qualifying for the World Cup for the very first time. They knocked out Chile 2-1 over in New Zealand, so an amazing story. Haiti qualifying for their very first FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, commiserations to Chile. especially as I have a teammate in Cote Rojas.
Well, she scored in the game. She was the one in the 2-1 loss. But, yeah, agony for not just her, but huge population diaspora of Chileans in Australia. So they miss out, but the games aren't played on paper.
No, that's right.
And a country like Haiti going to a World Cup, it's going to be so exciting for them.
Certainly is, and that's why I want to, you know, make sure that people get to every game of the World Cup, because you can certainly see some doozies.
And this pass, not quite up to the quality that Olga Carmona had showed us in the first half. A little bit of frustration there for the 22-year-old.
Yeah, I think she had the right idea. I think the timing was a little bit off because Paralelo was going through. She just hadn't checked early enough. Probably wanted it feet.
Vieira up in the air, but at ground level, it's Pokmanova who swings it out into open space, and Kirova can go for a run. Stashkova's making ground in the middle, so's Cherna. Kirova, all about the delivery, hangs it high, and it takes a little glance off the Spanish defender Carmona. Cherna is going to try and chase it down in the corner. It'll still, well, clever play from Carmona, is able to win a throw.
Yeah, she's done well there because she chased it all the way down because she knew that she had taken a piece of it and it wasn't going out for a corner. So she won possession back really well. Now,
potential gaps to exploit here. Well played, though, by Pechkova. And now Kirova, shot on sight. It's a shot on target. And Elena later is able to hold on, a little bobbler. But Kirova just trying to buy a ticket in the lottery there.
Every other day you probably say that's a poor decision, but I think if you're on a pitch this slick and it's raining, ball can bounce, anything can happen. I think it was a good decision by Kirova to have a go.
So a shot on target for Czechia at least. Spain trying to respond. Early ball in. Looked as though Redondo was well and truly ahead of the ball and offside there, but the cross never arrived to her advantage. Now Czechia will have a throw out of their defence. You can see there 4 shots on target to 1. And it looks as though we're going to have a second substitution of the game for Czechia. It's Lucy Martinkova who will come on here. And making way will be Andrea Stashkova, and we were speculating that heavy bandaging around the knee, and I said we'd come back to what you meant by the taping.
Yeah.
What does that sort of tape generally indicate the problem is?
It could be something to do with the kneecap, like a patella sort of tendinosis, but I can see it's heavily strapped on the inside of her leg. So, you know, that we call that the medial ligament. So sometimes when you pass a ball, it can just stress that medial ligament. When you're straight line running, it's fine, but when you're trying to change direction or you're trying to shoot, those sort of motions can come into play, especially as in when she stayed down, when she got tackled. Those sorts of things can really, really aggravate it.
Martinkova comes on with a little bit of history. She actually scored against Spain in a 3-2 loss back in November 2013 in Fuenlabrada. I mentioned that Spain's 6 wins, 1 draw. Czechia have never won, and they've only scored 6 times, so they've got one of the players who's at least scored against Spain in Martinkova out on the pitch now. That might give them a little bit of a lift to see what they can try. 124 caps now, 26 goals for the 35-year-old veteran of Sparta Prague, wearing the number 7, and she's gone straight to centre forward as well.
Yeah, it's great to see Czechia here trying to move the ball about, but they're further up the pitch this time. They're trying to keep possession. Movement is a lot better.
Batoldova, you heard the little flick of a deflection, but the assistant referee doesn't agree, and it's right in front of the Czechia bench, and they're all up in arms.
That's the benefit of having a microphone right where it happens, isn't it? Referees don't have that luxury.
Didn't need Snicko. We heard it loud and clear, and now a trailing arm grabbing at the shirt. Dedinova is down, but she's going to get up here and realise that it's her who is going to receive a yellow card for the foul on Paralelo rather than the trailing arm, which appears to have caught her in the face.
Yeah, Paralelo just had a backwards glance. It's not an elbow, so I'm sure she just was in a running motion.
Ooh.
Maybe little elbow.
Well, I mean, you can hold on to your face, but I mean, literally caught red-handed there, just hanging off Paralelo there, trying to drag her back. So you don't give the referee much of a choice there to book you.
No, that's right. I think whatever injury you get from having a tackle like that, although quite nasty, because it can produce a concussion or something like that. I don't actually think Paralolo actually threw her arm back. It was more in a running motion, so it was more accidental.
And Dadinova here, I did mention earlier in the half that she clattered against the post on Sunday. She's in the wars in this Cup of Nations. There's Atenea del Castillo. Looks as though the Real Madrid winger is going to be part of a double sub here for Spain. And the board goes up. Salma Paralolo's afternoon is over. She'll come off for Del Castillo here. And the other change is going to be Fiamma, who scored that marvellous goal against Jamaica in the opening game of the Cup of Nations. And she'll be coming on for Jenny Hermoso as Jorge Vilda starts to shuffle the pack. There is Atenea. Rather unfortunately went viral after Spain were knocked out of the Euros for pictures of her crying. Such was her despair at being eliminated from that tournament. Jenny Hermoso continues her return to international football. Paralolo heads to the bench. Only her 5th cap today. She's got a mother from Guinea-Bissau, father from Spain, and there was never a debate over choosing Spain as her country of choice for international football, but been really impressed. I mean, you wouldn't know that she's so early in her international career, Bubs, only 19 years old too. Yeah,
it's when you're balancing both sports, isn't it, that you take an opportunity with both hands, and she's done so. As we see Dadinova coming off.
Yeah, so much blood has been drawn there.
Paralolo has just clipped her with her elbow, and she just opened up the eyebrow.
Well, they don't want to sub her off. They're going to play down to 10 for now, Czechia, and defending a set piece, not ideal. 3 in the wall. The wind and the rain has sparked back up as Guerrero goes direct and draws a save out of Lukasheva, who bats it away behind for a corner.
Well watched there by Lukasheva. In this weather, you really have to watch it in. She set up her wall nicely. She could see the ball on the path. Sometimes when goalkeepers set up the walls when they're young, it's out of sorts.
Definitely a shot on target too. Irene Guerrero there. Here's the resulting corner. Lukasheva was caught in no man's land on that one, but a defensive header is able to get it out of the penalty area. Dadinova is actually disappearing down the tunnel. Maybe they need a stitch or proper bandaging here. They can't administer on the bench, so Czechia remain down to 10.
Have they made all their substitutions? It's an interesting sort of decision.
I think they've just decided she's that important. They want to do the running repairs.
Fair enough too. She's part of their defence.
And so Spain in the meantime stroking the ball around. No different to the first half really. It's just Czechia have one less player to guard the space at the moment. Del Castillo, first involvement in the game. Similar here for Fiamma. Now Shayla Cardona. 1 assist in the first half. Trying for the sneak attack on the left foot there. Wasn't able to find a way through. Neat 1-2 over on the flank. Cardona. Again looking up and then trying to take on Kirova, but couldn't find a way past.
They're just really good one-on-one defenders, Czechia. I think Spain are trying to beat them in those one-on-one situations, but I don't think they have, without playing past their defender in that one-on-one. I think maybe a couple of times in the first half they got the better of the Czechia players, but certainly Czechia are very good in those instances.
Aviera breaking over to the left, hangs the ball out. Slavsova knew exactly where it was going. So the right back is going to take the game on. 3 Spanish opponents going like a magnet to the ball there.
That touch was absolutely brilliant. Bringing it down. And then the press of the Spanish players also very critical for them. You can see their game plan in that instance.
Now Carmona down in the corner. Real battle ensuing. Czechia can spill possession here. Now a question of if they're good enough to fashion a shot on goal. Oh, it's set up for Pokmanova, but it was blocked immediately. A swing of the right foot, and she hobbles away, having caught as much of her opponent as the ball.
They'll be disappointed in that. Czechia Pokmanova with a golden opportunity to put it away. She did get clipped, but still they might be disappointed in that opportunity going awry.
Dedinova has come sprinting back out of the tunnel, so the repairs are done. Czechia are back to 11 players. They spent a good couple of minutes there, down to 10. And now they're starting to have designs on a goal of their own. Bertoldova not able to thread through Chetana. Here is Dedinova returning to the action. Sold Slashova into all sorts of trouble, but she's able to slay them through it.
You kind of hope that she's not suffering from a concussion.
Perhaps that was part of the reason they went down to the rooms. Here's the ball in now from Czechia, and it's cleared away. Pechkova not able to get the elevation needed. And a little body check there from Kirova, who I don't remember was seemingly on her last warning for a foul on Shayla Garcia earlier in the half, but this one's not a foul. It's just Shayla down and hurt. And the trainer's been called, and you can see from the distress that this one has really caught Shayla Garcia awkwardly.
Yeah, I didn't see that live. So on the follow through from Kirova, and Shayla was just passing the ball.
And it's
not
not
the leg extended, yeah.
Sorry, it's not the impact with the turf, is it? It's the impact with the player there that's hurt her.
Yeah, because in the final moment, your follow through, so you get the ball, you follow through, you're almost into relaxation mode, and your body just switches off. So at that point in time, getting a knock on the knee on the inside there can really throw you for your six, because you know, you're not in a fully physical, you're not prepared for that moment. You don't have muscle tension. The body part is in the air, so it's difficult to explain. But you know, you're not guarded in a sense to be able to take that knock.
Well, they're not going to take any risks here with Shayla Garcia as the assessment continues. Here's another look. Again, talk us through what's happened here.
So she's just come through, and then as her leg is raised, just the clash of knees, and it might have actually see the lateral, and you can see the bottom part of the leg flop, which meant that there wasn't any, you know, solid backing. She wasn't tensed, and it just meant that probably the knee just jarred in that moment.
Shayla Garcia, 25 years old, 16th cap today, the attacker from Atletico Madrid. We saw Paula Tomas there being prepared on the bench. So the discussion continues, but it looks as though they're not going to take any risks with Shayla.
Especially because that injury can be a lateral meniscus, which is really hard to repair and rehab.
So watch this space, unfortunately, for Shay. She makes the walk around the touchline. Now it's Spain's turn to be down to 10 players. Is this Czechia's opportunity to grab a goal back? Can they commit another extra number forward, given their upper player? Pokmanova touching it inside. Slashova, well, had stars in the eyes there as she loaded up from distance, but it was always sailing out for a goal kick.
She had too much time.
Never scored an international goal in 22 caps, and that one wasn't close.
No, I think because she took too much time in that first instance, her teammates were yelling man on, or the Czechia equivalent, and you know, she just rushed that final part of the shot and couldn't keep it down.
So Paula Tomas comes on, and it is Shayla Garcia who makes way with that injury. Tomas, who made her international debut against Jamaica earlier in the tournament, the 21-year-old from Levante. Here go Czechia now. Martinkova to the edge of the box. They're trying to trap it in here. Martinkova is back up, tangle of legs. Spain prevail, able to extract the ball. And then Slashova with a foul there as Spain were breaking out of defence. Gives us a chance to throw it down to the sidelines. Let's check in with Neve Owens. We might have had Neve ready to go, but I think a gust of wind is blowing people away down at ground level. We'll come back to that when we can, but the weather's definitely picked up, we can tell you. Here at McDonald Jones Stadium, it's starting to move more and more sideways, the rain, as it streaks across the ground, favouring, if anything, the left of screen that Spain are attacking in this second half. Now Guerrero, decision time. Intercepted by Slashova. Down by Chetana, but dangerously, and a shot on sight just rolls into the gloves of Lukasheva. But presented there to Atenea del Castillo, and not the greatest awareness there from Chen. She brought the ball down.
No, she kind of brought it back into the path of the Spanish player. She could get Atenea could get a shot off, but no power behind it. Didn't trouble Lukasheva at all.
So this second half, we've had 23 minutes of it ticking away. No addition to the halftime score. Spain definitely looking the more dangerous. A couple of Czechia fans still making their voices heard all around McDonald Jones Stadium. Those two, they're ringing out at the moment.
It's great to see. I feel it gets us a feeling of what it's going to be like at the World Cup, because we're such a multicultural nation. We have loads and loads of nationalities who not only call Australia home, but they love their original country.
Of course, Czechia didn't qualify, so I suspect those two will be wearing green and gold come July. Yeah. Here's a ball over to the right. Spain looking to build. They want to switch back on. They want a third here. And that cross too close to the keeper. Fielded on one bounce.
You just want Spain to keep possession there, just swing it round. They certainly didn't have the numbers. Czechia were outnumbering Spanish defenders, Spanish attackers, so probably be better off to work it round, come around the other side and try and attack from the left-hand side after going down the right.
You see their forward passes almost double in favour of Spain now as the game has gone on. Galvez. Redondo dispossessed. In the second half like this, where the game is drifting, this is where Spain miss Patrick Guijarro from defensive midfield. It's where they miss Aitana Bonmati as an attacking midfielder. They haven't had the level of creativity or industry to work their way through Czechia. If anything, Czechia are looking far more confident. They've got far more of a foothold in the game.
We certainly do, and it's great to see, showcasing some of their better skills. I mean, they've showed us how great they are in defending. That final pass maybe eluding them in terms of defending and clearing their lines, but certainly now we get to see a little bit of their skills. And Martinkova does well to lead that line as well, hold up the ball.
Guerrero plays it through the right. That's where Spain are getting the most amount of joy until that moment there. The cross into the box is what is starting to let them down. You see the frustration on that occasion for Paula Tomas, as that one, and not for the first time, is just too close to the goalkeeper.
It's too close to the goalkeeper, not enough numbers. I mean, players are in offside position, so even if they do receive the ball, they're going to be offside.
20 crosses to 4 now. Hey, Vilda, just not letting any negativity take over his stance on the sideline. Czechia appear to be readying another change on the sidelines. Denisa Vezela, who played really well as a right midfielder against Jamaica. Looks as though she's going to be coming on along with Anna Dlashkova. Perhaps Dedinova's number might finally be up if that's the case. We'll have to wait and see at the next break and play. Czechia in possession now. Netsirova. Pass, and the clearance didn't go too far. Redondo. Carmona. And now Atenea. Here is Atenea, still going. Really nice network of passes, but the return ball was too hot to handle. Well, that was Spain starting to look a lot sharper there.
Atenea just getting the ball close to the 18-yard box, just no one in the vicinity to give that 1-2 to get her in behind, so she has to take on her player 1v1, and she does so, just can't receive it back. Just unfortunately falls to the Czechia defender.
So Frani Černá is coming off for Denisa Vezela here, and also Michaela Kirova is going to be subbed off for Anna Dlashkova.
Great shift from Kirova. She really impressed me today with her tenacity and her boldness going forward. She was one of the players that were shining for Czechia in that first half in terms of going forward.
At only 22 years old, it wouldn't shock me if we see a player like Kirova pop up in the WSL or one of the top European leagues before too long, because she has all the pieces, and I think in a better team with better teammates, she'd be able to exploit her attacking instincts a lot more.
Certainly, and you could really see her going up and down that side. They usually play with more wing backs, so it would be interesting to see if she was in a position where she could get forward a lot more.
Spain attacking through the right here, and this time it's over the head of all in the box. Agonisingly on that occasion. Slashova is chased down on this occasion by Carmona.
Starting to be hard to see out of the commentator's box. The rain is really pouring down.
Yeah, it's returned with a vengeance here as we enter the last 20 minutes of the game. Spain starting to take back over once again. A little bit of feistiness we saw at the start of the second half from Czechia has just gone away a bit. Players like Atenea, one of the reasons that they're pinned deep in defence, but that's not her best touch, and she claps her hands together in frustration.
Yeah, she's frustrated there, but she just needs a little bit of help. She's got a plethora of Czechia chances. As we see Cardona getting the ball across the box. This time Lukasheva can't do anything about it because it's that height of the ball. And Atenea in the second instance trying to take on a player. Just probably needs somebody in the vicinity to drag a Czechia defender out.
Slashova. Is this a chance for Czechia to launch forward? Martinkova plays it into space, and here's Vesela, the sub, fresh off the bench. She's almost in behind. Good covering defence coming back. However, Czechia determined to keep it trapped down in their attacking half. They won't do so. It's out for a throw. Spain now. All of these substitutions are really serving to interrupt the momentum of the game at the moment, as we have another look here at a slight challenge from Martinkova. Now Claudia Zonoza is coming on. Who's making way though? Board's being flipped over here. Bit of conjecture. It is going to be Irene Guerrero, and the reason for the delay is Guerrero had to go and hand the captain's armband off. Looks as though Olga Carmona is going to put it on, and Claudia Zonoza comes on. She'll be chasing a first international goal in cap number 10, the attacker from Real Madrid. There is the new captain, Olga Carmona, taking the throw-in. Redondo. Fiamma. Spain looking fluent. Out to the right. Cardona. Czechia backtracking in earnest. Shouts of Marta as Cardona breaks to the flank, and the call is a corner.
Yeah, Czechia doing well to get bodies behind the ball. Once again, Cardona trying to go one-on-one. And then great defensive work by Pechkova.
So the sub, Zonoza, straight on. He's going to be taking this corner kick. Left-footed, in-swinger. Defensive header initially, and now cleared out of the box. It's coming back into the traffic. Czechia not able to clear their lines initially, but Dedinova sinks the slipper. Spain immediately retain the ball.
Spain have just lost a little bit of that ability to sit in between the lines. I think Gonzalez was really good at that in checking, making forward runs with Hermosa.
Czechia going sideways here. Vesela trying to swivel and twist the ball back into the attacking half. Martinkova not giving up on it here, but just harassing the opponent, Bahadas, a little bit too much.
She's trying to rev up her team, I think, trying to get in a tough challenge, trying to win possession back, trying to tell her teammates, hey, we're not out of this. We can really increase the level of participation here and get something out of this game.
as the ball goes across the ground. It seems like an apt time to go down to Neve Owens. Neve, have you been submerged down there yet?
Teo, it is absolutely coming in sideways at the moment. There's a really gustily, southerly wind, which is hopefully blowing the rain through Newcastle and away from McDonald Jones Stadium ahead of the second game a little bit later on tonight. But it does have a sand sub-base here, which really helps with the drainage. Still no pooling on the field, and in between games, we'll just see them fill in a few little divots. And by tomorrow, when it's mowed ahead of the A-League this weekend, it won't even look like it's been wet, Teo. It's holding up really well. The pitch, at least.
Yeah, I'll take your word for that, Neve. Thank you. Hang in there. I'll throw you a life raft if we need to. Just over 10 minutes to go in this one. Spain have not added to their halftime score. Just a reminder that if it stays like this, Australia will have won the Cup of Nations before even kicking off tonight. So can they add a third and just make it ever so slightly interesting? Give Jamaica something to play for. So we see a foul here.
The girls won't have much time to celebrate. A lot of them heading back to their clubs quite early in the morning, 6 a.m.
So we see the scramble here between Carmona and also Vesela. Let's come on with a bit of energy here. Denisa Vesela trying to get Czechia back in the game. If they score one, could be on for a big finish after all. As we see Abiyera floating it into the box. The run is not met by a flag. So would have counted had they been able to go on with it. There's Ornoza. Instead it's out for a throw.
Absolutely brilliant ball in there. Just not managing to get the correct touch on it.
Thomas. And that one hit with no power whatsoever. Very comfortably dealt with.
Superb ball in, well in, offside. Just the touch ricochets backwards. And unfortunately for Zornoza, it doesn't come to much.
Check out through Vesela, back to Slashova. So, Bubs, what's on your wish list for tonight? Who do you want to see starting for the Matildas?
Oh, all of them? I want to see. Well, I know Rasso is hurting after that hand injury, so I don't think she'll take the field, but I'm more than likely would love to see the combination Sam Kerr, Ford, and perhaps someone we haven't seen on the wing yet. Maybe a Gilnick if she's available. I wouldn't mind seeing.
You'd hope she's available. You'd hope if they'd called her into camp, she would be.
Yeah, you know, all these things aside, I'm sure they've got their own in-house discussions. But you know, the players that haven't stepped a foot on the field should get a Guernsey, because in the reality of a 3-game group stage.
Stay with play here just briefly. Spain turning back to Abiyera. A very, very slow burn at the moment when they attack.
Yeah.
Due to Czechia stacking the penalty area with numbers. It's clever though. Now on the wing from Paula Thomas.
Yeah, because in a group stage, if you're this well ahead and you're obviously moving into the next stage, you want to rest some players. And I've probably seen, you know, you've seen your 14, 15 players play. You want to see the 16, 17, 18, just in case.
Ball in here. So not to bounce in the box. Slashova gets it away. It's probably worth mentioning that in the World Cup, of course, the final group game is played simultaneously. So if Australia was in a situation where they were on 6, they had 2 opponents on 3, and they were playing the team on 0, knowing that a draw puts them top of the group.
Yeah.
It would be a pretty ideal position to be.
Yeah, and some of those games happen earlier, you know, where you can't do that sort of thing, where you're playing the lowest ranked team.
Ball into the box, sails out on this occasion. Of course, well, Australia finished with Canada, so I think a lot of people feel as though that's still going to be very much a live game, both in terms of qualification for one or both of those teams, if not for top spot in the group.
That's right. So you want to make sure you've got your best 11 out on the park for that one. So, you know, some of these things come into play in managers' minds. Some managers are like, nah, my starting 11 bar injury is the one I'm going with no matter what.
What about the conditions? Do you think that could be a factor in who gets picked today?
I don't think so at all. You know, I feel like players have got to play in every condition and be able to. So if someone doesn't stand up today, it might come into it
Well,
when the time
not
comes.
least because it's wintry conditions today and the World Cup is in July and August. Anyway, we'll stay with
Well, yeah.
Atenea here. Through the middle she goes, a quick 1-2, trying to jag back onto the right foot. Bit of contact. Oh, the referee's pointing to the penalty spot. Czechia could only hold out for so long, but Atenea has drawn a spot kick. And Spain will have a penalty to take a 3-0 lead. Slasova can't believe her misfortune.
And that's the reason why you don't want to have your Spain player come into the box and then start playing with the ball, because these players are so skillful. They're able to get their body between them and you, and any sort of dangerous tackle or lunge, as we see here, it's going to end up with a penalty.
So no booking, just a foul. It is a penalty though, so Slasova
Just upset it with herself, I think.
was going to be hoping that her goalkeeper, Olivia Lukasova, can make the save here. Atenea, who won the penalty, will take the spot kick. 4 international goals to her name. Today's cap number 23 for the 22-year-old from Real Madrid. Here's the penalty, and it is clinically dispatched. Atenea makes it 3-0 to Spain. And after a second half of toil, they break through with 6 minutes of regulation to go.
She certainly made that look easy, Atenea. She stood up well. She watched as keeper went to her right. That's the beauty about playing in the Spanish league. You are always called upon to do these things, especially with, you know, great teammates around you. And when you get an opportunity to do that for your national team, you take it.
Subdued celebration, but yep, we're looking at you, Atenea. And, she scores for the 5th time for Spain now. Fantastic young player. And so Spain have 3. Means they will have mirrored the scoreline against both Jamaica and Czechia if these hold, and continuing to reinforce their dominance over Czechia. 24 goals to 6 head-to-head now. First time they met was back in 2007, so most of it in reasonably modern times in women's football. The ball out to the right means there might be more pain on the way. Spain trying to finish with a flurry here.
Yeah, a bit more energy in the Spanish team. They're a lot closer to each other, which means they can play a lot of 1-2s, and Czechia, even though they're trying to stay in those blocks, they're finding it hard to follow the Spanish players.
Thomas, Spain getting into plenty of space out on that flank, but the crossing has left a lot to be desired. This time they get a corner almost as a bit of a freebie, and Lukasheva indeed disappointed to have batted it behind given how non-threatening it initially looked.
Yeah, certainly safe to say that crossing is not one of the Spanish fortes. You almost want them to have the ball in the wide area and let them do that after how many times they've not come up with anything.
And so a corner kick allows them a different look. Zornoza, the in-swinger again, defended at the near post initially. Step overs from Cardona. And the ball is headed away emphatically by Netsidova. Slasova tackled there. She tried to break out of the defensive third. So Pechkova has it all to do. Down against the line. Dlashkova. Martinkova can't keep it in. I'll give you a minute or two to think about it, Melissa, but I will ask you who your player of the match is, if half a day's work from Esther Gonzalez might be enough, or if someone over 90 minutes has convinced you, as we see the ball with Cardona over on the right side, cutting it in, shot on sight, blocked away. That was Alba Redondo trying to score her second goal of the tournament. Zornoza. Ball is living down in Spain's attacking half at the moment as they continue to turn the screws. Here's Atenea, one already, cutting back to no one in particular this time. It's all Czechia. But Spain immediately go and retrieve the ball. Galvez plays it to Abiera. In close quarters, and the 1-2 doesn't quite come off. Slashova's had it all to do. Vesela, only one player ahead of the ball, and it's Martinkova, and she pulls up here. It's not going to be able to chase that down.
think for me, you know, Gonzalez is well and truly up there, but Cardona for me and Shayla on the right-hand side in the first half were certainly the creators of everything.
Pretty good 1-2-3.
Yeah. You share them amongst the 3-2-1s, I guess.
2 minutes of regulation for Spain to try and add another.
Lukasheva has to get a vote in there, though.
Oh, she might be called upon very soon. Zornoza playing as a left footer over on the right side at the moment. To twist in like this, swing the ball. That cross, not her finest. Vesela, Martinkova. Immediately dispossessed. Olga Carmona coming in. Czechia are getting a double sub ready right at the end of the game. Almost to boost cap numbers or maybe appearance bonuses, who knows. But Klara Krvichkova and also Adela Radova won't care. They'll get an extra caps to their name. They're waiting down by the fourth official as Carmona plays the ball off Nedsidova. Oh, it's a goal kick. Spain not happy there, still fighting to the last. As we tick into the last minute of regulation, and that will prompt this double change here. Klara Krvichkova, who had a pretty good showing in both the games against Australia and Jamaica, doesn't get much of a chance to make an impact here. And Adela Radova will come on for just her second international cap, the 24-year-old from Victoria Plzeňa. And the players making way. Aneta Pokmanova, who's toiled really without a great deal of reward today in that central midfield role. A lot of hard running, a lot of chasing, but not a lot of time actually spent on the ball to do a great deal. Her afternoon comes to an end. Czechia are keeping us in suspense here. No one's moving, seemingly, as the other player coming off.
Oh, very slowly.
Eventually, it is Gabriela Slasheva who also comes off, and perhaps rough justice for her, giving away the penalty at the end of this game, because, again, she's another one who I think her stocks have gone up over the course of these 3 games.
Certainly has, and that's the benefit of when you play in Europe. Teams are always looking out for that, you know, that player.
And even though they haven't qualified for the World Cup, this shop window sort of situation for Czechia, you just never know which of their players playing at either Sparta, Slavia, or some of the smaller clubs like Slovačka or Plzeňa might end up landing moves to the top leagues as a result of this. We'll next see Czechia in competitive action when the Nations League starts in September. It doubles as qualifying for Euro 2025. So that'll be absolutely vital to them. They'll be hoping for a favourable group draw and also the opportunity to go back to a Euros. As we see a diagonal ball here. Clearance far from decisive. Atenea. 4 additional minutes we've ticked into at the end of this one. Block tackle late by the latest sub off the bench. And it is cleared away. Pass misses Vesela though. Carmona. Now a hopeful ball across the penalty area. Atenea has done well to control it. Blocked initially. Olga Carmona on that left foot. Dealt with by the Czechia defence. Aviera. Fiamma. Everything is slowed down a little bit here for Spain. One last question for you, Melissa. How do you think Spain will grade their tournament? Do you think it'll be looked at entirely through the lens of that first half against Australia, or do you think they'll be able to make a case that, as we see a foul here, and it's going to be a yellow card too for Dedinova. Do you think they can make the case that the 3 games should be looked at in total, or do you hone in on that first half against Australia? Oh, red card. Aneta Dedinova has been sent off.
Second yellow.
And so that is a bitter end for the Czechia centre-back. She went off the pitch in the half earlier with blood streaming from her face.
Once again.
And it's worth remembering she got booked for that trailing, that shirt grab and the trailing arm on that occasion, and perhaps didn't recall right at the end of stoppage that she was on a card. And so she's booked for the second time, and that is insult quite literally added to injury.
Quite literally. I think they will take the games as 3 separate games because of the fact that they use such different personnel for each and every game. But the one that they'll put most effort into analysing and keeping a tabs on is the Matildas match, of course. Even though they've got the 15 players missing, they want to make sure they're up to standard, because you don't know when these players are going to put their hand up again, or if they want to.
There is a roaring wind behind this free kick. It's going to be one of the last attempts of the game. Zornoza sails it over the bar. Even though Czechia are down to 10 players for the end of this one, it's not going to make a huge impact. You do wonder what Dedeva will now be suspended for if Czechia's got a friendly, or if that's going to be a competitive game she'll have to miss. But suspect it probably will be a friendly in April that she'll be suspended for now as a result of that red card, and because it's only 2 yellows, it'll only be the 1 game.
I actually don't understand. Sometimes I've never seen a red card carry on. So, official tournaments, are they official games? Are they better at keeping track of these things nowadays?
Well, Dedeva will certainly be unhappy with how the day came to an end. Stoppage time is up. Spain looking to close this one out with one last burst, but they're not going to get the chance to attack. And the whistle goes as the rain continues to tumble at McDonald Jones Stadium. Spain finished the Cup of Nations with a 3-0 win. It means the Matildas will at least have to draw with Jamaica later tonight in order to lift the trophy. But you suspect that Spain, that's not on their minds. They wanted another hit out today, just get the Matildas' defeat out of the system, and that they have done. Esther Gonzalez with a double in the first half, and then Atenea Del Castillo winning and converting a penalty late in a second half that was a bit more of a struggle for the Spanish team. Czechia attacks were few and far between, and they didn't really have a signature chance to score in this one. And they leave, at least with the win against Jamaica, as a memory of their time in Australia. Full time in Newcastle, Czechia 0, Spain 3. And so at the end of this one, Spain, not too much time spent shaking hands and congratulating, because the rain is absolutely pelting down out there. They're all pretty quick down the tunnel to get out of this one. And let's recap, Melissa Barbieri, the highlights of this game. And it was Esther Gonzalez who had the touch of quality in order to break the deadlock.
Certainly did, and great interchangeable play here by the Spanish players to get Gonzalez on the ball in the 6-yard box. Lukasheva had done a great job at keeping out the Spanish for the first part of that first half, but she couldn't do much about this one. The intelligent play from Spain absolutely dissecting that Czechia defence, and Gonzalez does not miss from there.
It was 31 crosses to 4 in this game. Most of the crosses were ineffective. Marta Cardona got this one right, and it ended in the back of the net.
It certainly did, and this one was a little bit closer to the 18-yard box, away from Lukasheva, and Gonzalez travelling to her left sweetly puts it into the bottom corner. Goalkeepers can't do anything about that, and they can't do anything about the cross either, and that's what you want from your wide players.
And that was a real moment of quality from Marta Cardona and Esther Gonzalez. Great technique in the air, able to bury her 23rd international goal. And then here's the foul from Slasheva on Atenea, a clear penalty, and a penalty that was well dispatched.
Certainly, and Atenea was doing great work in that one-on-one dribbling capacity. Once she entered the box, it was always going to be an opportunity for a penalty, and she slotted it home. As soon as she saw Lukasheva go to her right, she slotted it calmly to her left.
So that's how it finished, 3-0 to Spain. A 5th international goal for Atenea Del Castillo, able to round out the win here. So there is one game to go in the Cup of Nations. 6:30 p.m. the broadcast starts. 7:10 p.m. is the kickoff, Australian Eastern Daylight Time, for Australia against Jamaica from McDonald Jones Stadium. If you're watching close to Newcastle, get down to the ground. Otherwise, you can catch it on 10 Bold and Paramount Plus. And that's the table, so Australia do at least need to draw. If Jamaica pull off the upset, hey, Spain gets the trophy. That's another reason and another little wrinkle just to make sure that Australia gets the job done, wins 3 from 3, and makes it 7 wins in a row in this tournament. So as the crowd enjoys the final thrusts of this one, don't forget you can catch pre-show from 6:30 p.m. later tonight. On behalf of Melissa Barbieri, Neve Owens and the entire crew, my name's Teo Pellizzeri. Thanks for your company. Make sure you tune in at 6:30 p.m. later tonight.